All right, let's go. Number 8, the wow signal. On the night of August 15th, 1977, a radio telescope at Ohio State University was scanning the sky as part of a routine SETI survey. It was a boring job. Page after page of printouts showing background noise, static, the electromagnetic whisper of an empty universe. Then something happened that has never been explained. For exactly 72 seconds, the telescope received a narrowband radio signal of such staggering intensity that the astronomer reviewing the data the next morning, Dr. Jerry Eman, circled it in red pen and wrote one word in the margin. Whoa. Here is why it broke physics. The signal arrived at 1420 megahertz. That is the hydrogen line. The exact frequency that scientists had theorized for decades that an intelligent civilization would choose to broadcast on because hydrogen is the most common element in the universe. Every civilization would know it. It is the universal dial tone. The signal was 30 times stronger than anything in the background sky. It came from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. It had all the hallmarks of an extraterrestrial transmission. Every single one. And then it was gone. We have pointed every radio telescope on Earth at that patch of sky thousands of times since. We have listened for 47 years. The wow signal has never repeated. Never. We cannot explain what caused it. Rotating stars pulse too slowly. Comets emit the wrong frequencies. Satellites were ruled out. There is no natural phenomenon that fits. What we have is a 72-second message from the cosmos that checked every box for contact, then hung up the phone before we could answer. Physics gives us no candidate. The universe gave us one signal, and we missed it. Number 7, the strange radio bursts of Proxima Centauri. Proxima Centauri is our nearest stellar neighbor, just 4.2 light-years away. It is so close in cosmic terms that if the Milky Way were the size of the continental United States, Proxima would be standing in the same room as our Sun. We have studied it obsessively. We know it well. In April and May of 2019, a team of astronomers using the Parkes radio telescope in Australia were scanning Proxima Centauri as part of a broader search. What they found was not published immediately. It sat in the data. Then in 2020, the news leaked. There was a signal. A narrow, sustained radio emission at 982 megahertz, drifting slightly in frequency, the way a transmission from a moving planet would drift. It lasted for hours across multiple observation sessions. It appeared to originate from within the Proxima Centauri system itself, not from Earth, not from a satellite. The team, led by Shane Smith, spent a year trying to kill it. They tried every mundane explanation. Radio frequency interference, satellites, aircraft, terrestrial broadcasting. None of them fit. The signal's frequency drift matched what you would expect from a source orbiting a star. Proxima Centauri has a planet, Proxima b, a rocky world sitting in the habitable zone. The signal was eventually attributed to radio frequency interference from human technology, but the astronomers themselves admitted this explanation was deeply unsatisfying. The source was never pinpointed. The mechanism was never confirmed. What remains is an unexplained, narrow band radio signal from the direction of the closest potentially habitable planet to Earth that we cannot definitively explain and cannot reproduce. Our nearest neighbor may have whispered to us, and we do not know what it said. Number 6, the Lorimer burst, the first fast radio burst. In 2007, astronomer Duncan Lorimer was sifting through archival data from the Parkes telescope in Australia. The data was old. From 2001, he almost missed it. Buried in 6-year-old recordings was a pulse, a single, violent flash of radio energy that lasted less than 5 milliseconds. 5 milliseconds. And then nothing. This was the first fast radio burst ever discovered, and it immediately broke astrophysics. The energy contained in that millisecond flash was equivalent to what our sun releases in 3 days, compressed into a single pulse. The signal had traveled through intergalactic space, and as it traveled, the different frequencies within it spread out, lower frequencies arriving slightly later than higher ones. By measuring this spread, called dispersion, astronomers could calculate how much material the signal had passed through. The answer was terrifying. It had come from roughly 3 billion light-years away. Something 3 billion light-years across the universe had released the energy of 3 days of sunlight in 5 milliseconds. We had no physics for this. Nothing in the known universe should be able to do that. Not supernovae, not pulsars, not black holes, nothing. Since then, we have detected hundreds of fast radio bursts. Most fire once and vanish. Some repeat on bizarre, seemingly random schedules. One source, FRB 121002, repeats so often and so unpredictably that it has been compared to a cosmic alarm clock with a broken snooze button. We have traced some to distant galaxies. We have proposed magnetars as a source. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Our best explanation only accounts for a fraction of what we observe. The energy scales are too extreme. The repetition patterns make no sense. We are picking up screams from across the universe, and we do not know who or what is screaming or why. Number 5. The alien comet's radio silence. In October 2017, a dark red, elongated object tumbled through our solar system and made history. It was the first confirmed interstellar visitor ever detected passing through our cosmic neighborhood. Astronomers named it Oumuamua, Hawaiian for scout, and the name proved uncomfortably appropriate. Oumuamua was bizarre from the start. It was shaped like nothing we had ever seen. A flat, pancake or cigar-shaped object, roughly 400 meters long, with a width to length of 10:1. No comet or asteroid in our solar system looks like this. It was tumbling end over end through space. Then it did something that violated orbital mechanics. As it left our solar system, it accelerated. Not from a gravitational slingshot, not from any visible jet of gas like a normal comet. It just sped up with no visible propulsion, no outgassing, no tail. The CEDI Institute pointed radio telescopes at it and listened for any transmission. Silence. But here is the thing. Silence is not a refutation. A passive object, a probe, a sail, a piece of alien technology, would not necessarily broadcast anything. Astrophysicist A.V. Loeb of Harvard argued formally and publicly that the most likely explanation for its shape, its trajectory, and its unexplained acceleration is that it was a piece of artificial technology. A light sail, perhaps, pushed by radiation pressure. He was mocked by some, but the mockery did not come with a better explanation. The acceleration remains unexplained. The shape remains unprecedented. And Oumuamua is now gone, sailing silently out of our solar system into the interstellar dark. We had one chance to study it up close. We were not ready. Number 4. The Peryton signals. For 17 years, radio astronomers at the Parkes Observatory in Australia were plagued by a ghost. They kept detecting strange signals called perytons, millisecond bursts of radio energy that looked almost identical to fast radio bursts, but with one difference. They appeared to come from multiple directions at once, which was impossible. A real signal from space has a point of origin. These had none. For 17 years, the smartest radio astronomers on Earth could not explain them. Papers were written, conferences were held, theories about atmospheric effects, lightning, ionospheric anomalies were proposed and discarded. The signals were real, they were measurable, they were repeatable, and they had no source. Then in 2015, a graduate student placed a microwave oven near the telescope receiver and opened the door mid-cycle. The telescope immediately detected a peryton. The signals had been coming from the break room, from microwave ovens, for 17 years. Now you might think this is a relief, a solved mystery, but sit with it for a moment. The most advanced radio telescope array in the southern hemisphere was fooled for nearly 2 decades by a kitchen appliance. which raises a far more disturbing question. If a microwave oven can masquerade as a cosmic signal for 17 years, what real signals have we dismissed as interference? How many genuine transmissions have we unplugged and walked away from because they looked too much like noise? The perytons are solved, but the question they leave behind is not. Number 3, the ULAF emissions from Saturn. Saturn is a strange planet. We have known this for centuries. But in 2020, scientists analyzing data from the Cassini spacecraft discovered something that does not fit any model of planetary physics. Saturn was emitting structured, patterned ultra-low-frequency radio waves. That in itself is not unusual. Gas giants emit radio noise. Jupiter does it all the time. But Saturn's emissions were different in one chilling way. They changed. The frequency of Saturn's radio emissions had been used since Voyager to measure the planet's rotation speed. But when Cassini arrived decades later, the frequency had shifted. Saturn appeared to be rotating at a different speed than before. The planet seemed to have slowed down. A gas giant the size of 764 Earths had apparently changed its rotation rate between 2 spacecraft visits. This is not physically possible. Conservation of angular momentum is one of the most ironclad laws in physics. A planet cannot change how fast it spins without an enormous external force acting on it. The explanation, eventually proposed, is that the radio emissions we were measuring were never coming from the bulk rotation of the planet at all. They were tied to Saturn's ionosphere and magnetic field, which are themselves influenced by the rings and the moons. The signals were structured by something we still do not fully understand, encoding information about a system so complex that after 50 years of observation, we still cannot read the signal correctly. Saturn has been talking to us the whole time. We just do not speak the language. Number 2, the North Galactic Pole Anomaly. In 2021, astronomers conducting a radio survey of the entire sky discovered something that had been hiding in plain sight. A vast, circular ring of radio emissions centered almost exactly on the North Galactic Pole. They named it Odd Radio Circle 1, or ORC1. It was a perfect ring, roughly a billion light-years in diameter, glowing in radio wavelengths with nothing visible at the center in optical light. Since then, 4 more of these structures have been detected. All of them share the same bizarre characteristics. They are enormous rings. They are only visible in radio waves, invisible to optical and infrared telescopes. They have no confirmed central object, and we have no theory that explains them. The proposals are extraordinary. Some astronomers suggest they are the remnant shock waves from the merger of 2 supermassive black holes billions of years ago. An explosion so vast that the ripple is still expanding across the cosmos. Others propose they are starburst galaxies seen edge on, creating galactic winds that blow outward in perfect rings. Others suggest they are something else entirely, something we have not discovered yet. The horror of the ORCs is not what they are. It is that we detected them accidentally. They are so large that for decades, our telescopes had simply been looking at pieces of them without realizing the pieces connected. There is an entire class of structure in the universe, spanning billions of light years, that we did not know existed until 3 years ago, and we still do not know what they are. We do not know how many there are. We are seeing giant rings burned into the sky, drawn by a hand we cannot identify for a reason we cannot fathom. Number 1, the anomalous signal from HD 164922. In 2016, a team of researchers at the Radon 600 radio telescope in Russia detected a strong signal at 11 GHz coming from the direction of HD 164922, a sun-like star located 95 light-years from Earth in the constellation Hercules. The signal was strong, startlingly strong, and it was directional, pointed at our solar system. The team did not announce it publicly. They sat on it for nearly a year, running observations, checking their data, looking for the mundane explanation that must exist. In August 2016, the news was leaked to the press before the scientists were ready. The story exploded. Russian telescope detects possible signal from alien civilization. The follow-up observations found nothing. The signal did not repeat. HD 164922 was watched by telescopes around the world for months. Silence. The Russian scientists attributed it to a classified military satellite, but the satellite was never named. The classification has never been lifted. The frequency does not match any known satellite in any public database. Here is what we are left with: a strong, directional, non-repeating radio signal from the direction of a sun-like star with known planets. An explanation offered by a government that cannot be verified, and a star that has been watched obsessively ever since and has not spoken again. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. Our civilization has been capable of detecting radio signals for about 100 years. If there is something out there and it sent a single pulse at us once, the chances of us catching it in that 100-year window are infinitesimally small, and yet we may have. We may have caught it in 1977. We may have caught it in 2016. We may have caught it dozens of times and buried the data under the label interference, because the alternative is too enormous to sit with. These signals are the universe's knuckles rapping on the door of our understanding. Most of them have mundane answers, but not all of them do. And the ones that don't are not whispering that we are alone. They are whispering something far more unsettling, that we are not listening hard enough. If you want to see more videos like this, click the video on the screen now.